with the big story of the day, there is no end to war in West Asia. Just a while back, we were learning that US attacked Iran second time in the last 24 hours. Multiple sites, including missile and drone storage facility, radar, air defense system, communication networks, and surveillance infra, they have been hit by the United States. US President Donald Trump has said that strikes were carried out because it was Iran that has violated the ceasefire agreement. So here is what has happened in the last 24 hours. It all started with Iran striking a commercial oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. US called this a clear violation of the ceasefire agreement and responded with the airstrikes on Iran's military targets. But the escalation did not stop there. After just some time, Iran launched drones towards Bahrain, targeting a US base there. And now for the second time in the last 24 hours, the United States has hit back. President Donald Trump has defended the operation, saying that Iran was given a chance to honor the ceasefire and the agreement between the two countries, but it chose not to. Trump has also issued his strongest warning yet, saying that if Iran continues to defy the ceasefire, the United States will, and I quote, complete the job. So let me go across to my colleague Mayank on this. Good morning, Mayank. We are witnessing escalation in West Asia once again. The bigger question is, and this is what people want to know, why has the escalation happened again, and why are we witnessing the war once again in that region?
Good morning, Akansha, and good morning to the viewers. See, it can be said to be a tit-for-tat kind of an operation which is going on between Iran and the US. Why it has begun is actually the US claimed or said that Iran is violating the MoU which was signed in Switzerland, saying that they have targeted a merchant vessel, and whereas as per the agreement, there had to be a free movement of all kinds of merchant vessels for at least 60 days. In that case, Iran has quoted the article number 5 or point number 5 of the MoU, saying that all arrangements will be made, which is Iran is going to make arrangements for safe passage of the merchant vessels or all vessels from that side, which is Strait of Hormuz towards Gulf of Oman, for another 60 days. I mean, that's the kind of a... But in that case, when Iran fired upon a merchant vessel which was moving toward the Gulf of Oman from Strait of Hormuz, US has taken it as violation of it, and they had started striking the positions, or generally they are military positions, which is in Sirik and one of the islands, which is all kind of storage capacities, and radars are being hit from that side. But Iran, as you have already brought out, is also now retaliating, and they are targeting, as they have done since 20th of Feb, claiming that they are targeting the bases or the structures and infrastructures or the places which are being used to support the US military, Akansha. So
absolutely, and it all started when Iran struck a commercial oil tanker there in the Strait of Hormuz. US retaliated, and after that, Iran attacked Bahrain. And once again, we're witnessing that US has attacked Iran, and in retaliation, just some time back, in fact, Iran has also hit back at Bahrain and also Kuwait. There, stay on with us. I'll come back to you once again. I'm also joined by Matthew Wadham, senior journalist based in USA. Thank you so much for connecting with us. How do you look at this tit-for-tat confrontation that we are witnessing between the two countries? It was only just 10 days back on June 17 that an agreement was signed between the two countries, and not just that, there was also negotiation and back-channel talks in Switzerland as well. And after that, everyone assumed that everything would be fine in the coming days, that the negotiations will go on for the next 60 days. But now, once again, we're witnessing that in West Asia, there is escalation, not just involving Iran, but also attacks that we're witnessing on the Gulf countries once again.
Well, I think we can just see that the memorandum of understanding is on very shaky ground.
Right.
And that's what happens when you make a deal with the disreputable scoundrels like the religious zealots who run the dictatorship in Tehran. They don't follow the terms of it. They have launched drone attacks against ships. They attacked Bahrain, which is an important U.S. ally. And, they're not, Iran is only interested in taking most of the heat off of itself. And that's why it signed this memorandum of understanding, to buy more time. Remember, the memorandum of understanding is not a final peace agreement. It is merely an agreement to continue talking to try to resolve the outstanding issues between the country, the two countries, the U.S. and Iran, the major one of which is nuclear non-proliferation. So Iran is a very aggressive country. They break treaties all the time. They can't be trusted. And this is, the United States decided. Sometimes the United States stands down and doesn't respond when Iran uses its military. But here, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, decided it was time to retaliate. So he ordered some attacks against Iranian facilities. So, this is to be expected. Some people thought that the memorandum of understanding was, the end of it all, and that suddenly there was going to be an outbreak of peace. But in reality, things are much messier than that, and it's going to, take a while for these things to be sorted out, if they ever get sorted out.
Both the sides had agreed that they will not be attacking each other, but that clearly has been violated. The ceasefire between the two countries that has also been broken by them. Stay on with us. We have more details coming in as far as the latest U.S. operation is concerned, because this marks the second consecutive round of the retaliatory strikes since the ceasefire came into effect. U.S. Central Command has said that it has targeted, and its targets were chosen to degrade Iran's capability to threaten commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has maintained that U.S. is using the tanker incident that happened yesterday as a pretext for escalation in the region. The result is a ceasefire that exists diplomatically but is being tested there on the ground almost every other day. Let me once again go back to Mayank on this. Mayank, this has to do with the Strait of Hormuz, because that is the only leverage that Iran has. But as far as the agreement is concerned, it was decided that there would be no further attacks. The Strait of Hormuz would be open. What is happening there as far as that key waterway is concerned? There have been attacks on the tankers in the last few hours, and that is the reason perhaps why U.S. has started the escalation once again.
Yeah, you're right, Akansha. See, as per the arrangements, and Iran had always been claiming that they'll be the one who will be allowing the passage. Now it begins right from 8th of April, when the first ceasefire agreement was signed, and at that time also Iran had been claiming that it is IRGC, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran, which is going to give the permission, and they had created a corridor which was mandatory for every movement which was allowed from that side, and the permission had to be taken from IRGC. In this case also, they are quoting the article number 5 or point number 5 of MoU, which has been signed in Switzerland, saying that it was Iran which was supposed to make the arrangement, which is they are to decide, and the permissions had to be taken, or they had to be kept in loop for all kind of movement which was taking place from that side. Using that, they had fired upon merchant vessel, but as the US has been claiming that it is sort of a violation of MoU which was signed, and the ceasefire which had started again extended for another 60 days. Thus, they had been firing upon, or rather they had been operating using military to target upon the storage bases, the radars, and it is only to blunt the capabilities so that they are not able to launch missiles and drones, which they had been using to even now fire the other nations or the bases which are based in those nations, Akansha. So this is how it is, sort of a tit-for-tat which is going on, and as it had been happening since 28th of Feb. There are claims and there are counter-claims, but things are not seeing any let up, or rather there's no peace which is right now. I mean, it has been breached right now, Akansha.
Absolutely. Stay on with me. Let me also go across to KP Fabin, former diplomat, joining us live on the broadcast. Sir, how do you see the attacks that have started again? Iran attacking the commercial vessel there in the Strait of Hormuz, U.S. retaliating, and now we're witnessing that Iran has hit Bahrain and Kuwait once again, something that we saw in March and April earlier this year. Your reaction to this?
Well, this is most unfortunate, and one gets a feeling that on the American side, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has one plan of action, and Vice President Vance has another plan of action. Vance is keener on diplomacy than on resorting to military action, whereas Marco Rubio prefers military action, and both claim that they are speaking on behalf of President Trump, which may be correct, which means that President Trump himself is not consistent. That is point number one. Point number two is that looking into the past, when Iran had been attacked more than once, when diplomatic negotiations were on, the IRGC is taking a very hard line. And, even when, the belief there is that, America, the great Satan, cannot be trusted, and it is useless to talk to them. But I still hope that this thing will hold, and the memorandum of understanding will not turn into a memorandum of misunderstanding.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, sir, for connecting with us and putting that into perspective. Let me also go across to Tit-for-tat Pen, a geopolitical expert. Thanks so much for connecting with us. How do you look at these attacks that have started once again, tit-for-tat attacks that we are witnessing? And once again, Donald Trump has threatened Iran that they will complete the job in the coming days if Iran does not listen. Your take on this?
Well, I'm not surprised with what is happening. It was inevitable. There were inherent contradictions in the entire peace framework. First of all, there was no peace deal. There was merely a framework for an extended ceasefire. Secondly, the Iranians, there's a strong possibility that there are certain sections of the Iranian regime who were against it, and they may have, launched these attacks. At the same time, the Israelis were never in favor of a deal like this. Within America, there were reservations. And I think there is a section in the entire region who are against sanctions being waived off Iran, so they would have loved to see the war starting somewhat the other way. So there are many factors and subterfuges which are playing a critical role in ensuring that, whatever framework was done will actually get, completely made redundant. And that's exactly what is happening. The biggest problem, again, is the fact that Donald Trump himself is very impulsive and reactive. So if you keep on giving statements that we will attack you, we will, reduce you to rubble and all that thing, then invariably there will be retaliation. And so I think there is lack of sincerity from both sides when it comes to this peace deal, and it was inevitable that the war would start all over again. Back to you.
All right. Thanks so much for connecting with us and putting that into perspective. A threat that has come in from Donald Trump as well, that he will complete the job if Iran does not listen and stops the attack there in the Strait of Hormuz. We have another breaking update coming in, a response that has come in from IRGC. IRGC has claimed that strikes have been done on 8 U.S. bases across the Gulf countries. Retaliation has been launched as well. So after U.S. attacked Iran, and especially the areas there in southern part of Iran near the Strait of Hormuz, Sirik and Keshem Island, we're learning that Iran has hit back. They have attacked 8 U.S. bases across the Gulf countries. Since morning, we are getting in updates from Kuwait as well as Bahrain of the incoming missile attacks there, not on the civilian areas, but we're learning as far as the bases there are concerned, and now IRGC mentioning that retaliation has been launched. Let me go across to my colleague Mayank on this. Mayank, take us through the retaliatory attack by Iran at this point in time. They have put it out on social media that they have already attacked 8 U.S. bases across the Gulf countries. How worried should the Gulf countries be at this point in time?
Akansha, ultimately the battering will had to be borne by the countries which are having these bases. Now, it is the kind of operation which has been started by as a retaliatory operation by Iran. They are inconsistency, or they are consistent with the kind of operation they had been conducting since February 28. Why I'm saying is actually they had said, Iran had claimed that they'll be targeting the bases, the countries, or the support personnel, or the places which are used as support to the enemy. And in this case, they had defined enemy to be Israel and the US. So what you see is actually the Gulf region, which is around the Strait of Hormuz. There are multiple kinds of bases. When I say kinds, there are logistical bases, there are air bases, there's maritime base also, which is Bahrain hosts the headquarters of 5th Fleet. So in this case, what Iran had been doing is actually, instead of firing the missiles, having the capability to fire the missiles on geography of the US, they are targeting the bases which are around them, and they are using their missiles and their drones to target all bases and every kind of base or the infrastructure or the places of congregation as they had been claiming. So this what you see is as per the official words which have come out from IRGC, they have by now fired on 8 bases or rather 8 places in that region. And these bases are spread out in multiple nations or multiple countries into that area. And as of now, as you have said, they include Kuwait and Qatar in this case. And Bahrain also is one of the countries which has been receiving the fires or missiles and drones fired upon by Iran.
Absolutely, and we have another statement from IRGC where they are mentioning and giving a clear warning to US that they will halt the MoU, the agreement that was signed between the two countries only on June 17th, if the attacks continue on their country. Let me once again go back to Mr. Matthew on this. Mr. Matthew, we've been speaking to a lot of experts. They are saying that the framework was such that this attack and the tit-for-tat attack that we're witnessing in West Asia, that was inevitable. Would you agree with that?
If the framework is weak, yes, the framework is weak. And it is not, as I said earlier, and as your other guests who appeared by telephone said, this was just an agreement to hold talks for a further agreement. It was just a temporary ceasefire. It wasn't a lasting comprehensive peace deal. So it's not surprising that it's falling apart. And we're going to have to see what becomes of it. But Iran doesn't like to play by the rules. It frequently disobeys treaties and agreements with other countries. So I'm not at all shocked that this is happening, and I expect that Iran is going to continue this behavior. One of the next problems is going to be how Iran tries to enforce its proposal to impose tolls on vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz. The United States says you can't do it. These are international waters. You're violating international law. But Iran says that they think they have a right to do it in conjunction with the Omanis. They want to administer the Strait of Hormuz and charge ships a fee to pass through it. So that is going to be another thing over which you could see further hostilities break out in coming weeks.
So it remains to be seen how this pans out in the coming days. Let me once again go back to Mayank on this. Mayank, what is the situation there on the ground? We are learning that in the last few hours there have been attacks on Bahrain and Kuwait as well, not from the civilian areas, but the US bases there. What are you learning so far as the Gulf countries are concerned? And has any reaction come in from those countries?
So, as far as the deployment of air defenses is concerned, there had been statements which have come out from the government side actually. And air defenses is only deployed when they see projectiles which are approaching their nation or which are hostile projectiles or enemy projectiles which have been fired upon them. So in this case, we can easily understand, and that these have been confirmed by Iran also, that they are attacking the bases which are around that region. And having said that, it has become really sensitive. So, and under such threats, you can never find any movement of merchant vessels which are high capital and capital intensive movement of cargo. It doesn't take place. So what you can easily understand is that all kind of movements must have by now stopped, unless some kind of a statement stating otherwise comes out from that side, because it threatens any movement. And mind it, otherwise a 30 days period was given for demining the area also. So there are stricter passages, or the course which could be charted from that region are very narrow, and this Strait of Hormuz is already a narrower position. So what we see is actually the things have become really nebulous, and we'll be seeing its ripple effects tomorrow, which is Monday, in terms of the indices all across the globe. And we might also find, because there had been a positive effect on the rates of Brent, which had come down. So you might find the inflation rates as our previous expert or speaker from US has also been talking about. It's also about inflation. So we might see a ripple effect taking place right from today, or maybe tomorrow. It's also in multiple ways. But as far as the specific positions or the area around Middle East is concerned, it has become a little nebulous, Akansha.
All right, so it remains to be seen how it pans out in the coming few hours. We're learning that US has attacked Iran, and Iran has retaliated by attacking Bahrain and Kuwait there in Gulf. Thanks so much, Mayank, for getting us all those details. And now, after the ceasefire agreement between US and Iran, hopes of lasting peace in the region have gained fresh momentum. US, Israel and Lebanon have now signed a framework that is being projected as a major step towards restoring stability and addressing the long-standing security concern along Israel's northern border. Now, at the heart of this agreement is a roadmap aimed at ending years of cross-border conflict. Israeli Prime Minister has hailed the signing of the trilateral framework between the three countries as a significant diplomatic breakthrough. Listen in to what he said.
אתם יודעים שאנחנו מנהלים משא ומתן בוושינגטון בין נציגי ישראל, לבנון וארצות הברית. זה משא ומתן ממושך והיום הוא נשא פרי. הדבר החשוב ביותר הוא קודם כל שישראל נשארת ברצועת הביטחון בדרום לבנון. זה הישג גדול ואנחנו מקיימים אותו כל עוד חיזבאללה לא פורק מנשקו, כל עוד נשקפת סכנה למדינת ישראל. זה גם מכה גדולה לאיראן. איראן מנסה לכפות עלינו נסיגה בכוח מדרום לבנון, ובעצם ישראל, לבנון וארצות הברית אומרות להם, זה לא עניינכם. אין לכם שום תפקיד בלבנון, לא לכם ולא לחיזבאללה ולא לשום ארגון טרור.
All the team that you see assembled here today, including the support we got from the Department of War in these conversations. Our ambassador to Lebanon has done a great job, and we're so honored he's here with us today. And our team here, led by Dan Holler, our counselor, our team here at the State Department did a phenomenal job. If people want to see the value of professional diplomatic work and of diplomacy, that's what the team here has put together, and I'm very proud of what we've done here at this department in bringing this about. As I said, today is the first step. This first step sometimes is the hardest one, but it's an important one and the one we've taken together. And we're very grateful that this has come about and that the timing is such that all of you could cover it and report it back. And hopefully we'll have many more of these conversations and make real and tangible progress so that the people of both of these countries can be hopeful about their future, a future of peace, a future of prosperity, a future of mutual coexistence in a way that's beneficial to the men and women and children, including those not yet born, who deserve what all people deserve, and that is the right to live in their country without fear of harm, without fear of war, without fear of conflict. And that's what we hope to be able to facilitate and achieve. And today we've taken the first step in what will be a difficult journey, without a doubt, but an important and an essential and a necessary one. And we're very proud to be a part of it.
With the US-Iran agreement that has now been flouted, it remains to be seen as far as the US-Israel-Lebanon, that agreement will hold in the coming days or not. Thanks so much, Mayank and Mr. Matthew Wadham, for connecting with us and putting this entire story into perspective. With this very short break, more news and updates on the other side.